Mulan has been released into Smite, and today I'm taking it upon myself to teach you the basics on how to both play and build the newest god to join the battleground. This video is going to be broken up into 3 different segments. First, I'm going to quickly talk about the build that I've been liking to use, because I know some of you are here for just the build, so I'm not going to hold you up so you can get into your matches. Then we're going to talk about the abilities that Mulan has and why I like the items that I'm choosing to build. And then finally, we're just going to be putting Mulan in the new section of our tier list, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks as well. Mulan is an ability-based tank. So that being said, we're going to want to build a lot of defense, and we're going to want to build a lot of cooldown reduction. Just for the sake of saying it, I have tried full damage Mulan. I did not have the results that I was expecting. I've tried it multiple times. It doesn't work great. I prefer the full defense option. So what is the full defense option? Well, you're going to rush into Gladiator's Shield because that item is going to give you the sustain that is lacking in the rest of the kit. Do not rely on the second ability to sustain you. Then you're going to build into Warrior Tabby, Breastplate of Valor, something like Pestilence for baseline magical protections, and then Hide of the Urchin and Spirit Robe. So now that I've covered a build, I want to take a step back and talk about all of Mulan's abilities so that I can properly discuss why I like this build. Her passive is simple, you get cooldown reduction every now and then, but more importantly, all of her abilities also level themselves up the more you use them and deal damage with them, and this is going to be an important concept when you're thinking about how to box the opponent and stuff like that. So now let's talk about the core of the kit. The first ability is a swipey move. It hits twice. Once it goes pro, you can swipe a third time. The second ability is a spear thrust. Once you go pro, it swipes a second time. The third ability is a grapple. It grapples enemy gods. Once it goes pro, you can grapple the wall. And then the ultimate just does a lot of damage. I recommend leveling order for the abilities being the 1 first, upgrading the ult where you can, and then the second ability into the third ability, all the way up until you hit level 20. Okay, now let's move into tips, tricks, and theory. Basically, my theory is since Mulan is not a very safe character, building her glass cannon is not effective. She has no traditional way to escape. She has not really a decent way to engage. Don't let the grapple fool you. You may be CC immune once you start pulling, but you are not CC immune before and you are not CC immune after. Plus, in her ultimate, you are a sitting duck. Sure, you swipe forward and then you can knock them up and then you can shoot an arrow, but you are a sitting duck the whole time and there is not enough disruption to warrant you lunging forward and putting yourself out of position. You're just gonna die. Yet, all of this doesn't matter if you build full tank. If you're out of position as a tank, you can deal with it. If you want to engage using your ultimate as a tank, you can put up with the fact that you're a sitting duck because you have tank items and they're not going to bring you down, and you can set up for your team. As a tank, if all of the enemy team is focusing you, that's the freaking dream. Now, tips and tricks for lane. Early game, you are pretty much just trying to get your first ability to pro status. I don't recommend taking a lot of heavy fights until you do this, but once that first ability gets to pro status, you can start trading and you're going to start winning those trades. The last series of tips I have is all related to Mulan's ultimate. Early game, don't be afraid to use this ultimate just to gain weapon skill. It does a lot of damage and thus you're going to be able to get a lot of skill from it. Just use it. Try it out. You're gonna thank me for this. The other tip I have is late game, once all your tank items are online, you can use this ult as an engagement tool. It is a really good engagement tool if you are full tank. Right? Like I was saying earlier, if you're full damage, you're a sitting duck and they're just going to collapse on you. But as a tank, you want that to happen and you can disrupt them with the knockup and you're going to survive and immediately start doing damage right after you stand up. It's a really good ability for a tank to engage with, not an assassin. Funny enough, the tier list website I use hasn't actually updated to have a Mulan section in it yet, but basically, final thoughts. I think Mulan is above average, but I do not think they're very strong. I don't think they're broken. They're certainly not first pick and ban worthy, and I wouldn't necessarily put them in the same tier as King Arthur in the strong tier, but I certainly think they're better than some of the average solo laners out there. I think this character has some sauce. I think once people start to really learn her, she's really going to pop off. I'm excited to see how things develop, and I'll have more updates to this once the icon is available and whatnot. That's really all the time I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Helps me out a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Subscribe if you're new, and don't forget to keep it casual. Take care, guys.